So, welcome to the part 2 of Interpreting Life Seasons Through God's Lens. Case study 2 is David. If you missed case study 1, you can go to my previous video to catch up. Case study 1 was on Joseph. Now, David. David was a shepherd boy who was caring for his father's flock. That was going good until a lion showed up, picked up the sheep, and in this moment, we saw the manifestation of the gift of faith. David chased the lion and rescued the sheep. Afterwards, a bear came. David chased the bear, rescued the sheep. Amazing experience. That was not enough. Samuel shows up in their house. David was not around. God had sent him to anoint a new king for Israel. They had to send for David, who was not at home at that moment. He was at the backside of the desert, caring for his father's flock. He got home, he was anointed. Beautiful experience again. Beautiful and scary, actually, because it's important that Saul does not know that David was anointed king in his stead. Then in the next chapter, Goliath showed up on the scene. And we saw the effect of the anointing of God upon David's life. David was not scared. All trained soldiers on the field couldn't accept the challenge. But David accepted the challenge. He saw it as an insult on Jehovah. Don't forget a chapter before that, David was anointed. We can conclude that this level of boldness we're seeing in David's life was something that had accumulated from his encounters with God whilst taking care of his father's sheep to that point. We know what happened between David and Goliath. Around this same season, David had gotten a good job in the king's palace as a court musician who would help pacify Saul when he was tormented by evil spirits. So we could say that David had gotten a job in the biggest organization in Israel, the palace. All of this went on good until the people started singing David's praise. Saul got envious and started chasing David to kill him. We saw the dynamics of the relationship between Jonathan and David, and how Jonathan helped David to survive in the king's palace. That's not where I'm going, so I won't dwell on that. What we didn't see behind the scenes was that David was now anointed as king, and God wanted to teach him leadership. All these feats that David had experienced were feats that he accomplished alone. The lion, the bear, Goliath. He walked as a man. But to serve as king of Israel, you have to learn to lead an army. And that didn't come by going to a leadership class. It came through adversity. His boss was now chasing him, not to promote him, but to kill him. And David had to hide in the cave Adullam. And in that place, men that were discontented, depressed, dissatisfied with life, came to join David there. And he groomed them until scriptures identified them as the mighty men of David. On the outside, it came as a crisis. Behind the scenes, from God's perspective, God was taking David through a season of leadership training. On one of those occasions, David's men wanted to even stone him, and David had to encourage himself in the Lord. Another occasion, he had the opportunity to kill Saul. He didn't. He would have even thought that would change Saul's mind from chasing him. And sometimes we are naive as believers, where we think that if we do good unto people, they would reciprocate. No, it doesn't work that way. So let's look at the series of events. After David was anointed as king, what do you think his expectation would be? Especially seeing what happened in the next chapter. Goliath was killed. Next thing should be, I don't know how God is going to do it, but kingship should be near. But no, it was a wilderness experience. It was a training ground for David. It was a season of crisis for David, as we would interpret it from man's point of view. David had to learn to be a team player. He had to learn to lead an army. And this applies to our lives. This story is a prophetic pattern. If you have lived long enough on the earth, you would have had your own fair share of this model. It might be a case of you being in school, you were an A student, and you got out of school. and 3 years you didn't find a job. And in those 3 years, what God was trying to do was to get you to become an entrepreneur where you are no longer looking for a job, but you are now an employer of labor. That's just an example amongst many other examples. So a prayer to pray when you don't understand what's happening is to ask God, what are you teaching me in this season? What lessons am I learning? Open my eyes to see what you are seeing. Fill my heart with your will. If you're going through this kind of season that David went through, your own model of it, I pray for you right now to receive the ability to see and interpret this season from God's lenses. Never doubt his presence. God was with David when there was victory over the lion, victory over the bear, victory over Goliath. God was also with David when Saul chased him to kill him, when he had to be in Adullam, when his men wanted to stone him. All of these seasons, God was with him. One thing that is consistent in all of the seasons of life is the presence of God. If you discern him, you give yourself the opportunity to enjoy your relationship with the one who loves you eternally. I hope this blessed you. See you next time.